Good day, welcome to the program on supply chain management. Regret there was some technical issue, so I couldn't make up at exact 12 noon. So this program is actually meant for beginners, though experienced people can also participate. I just wanted to give an idea of what does the end-to-end supply chain management means, especially if you are a student looking for a career in supply chain management or a fresher looking for a job, or possibly even if you are a junior in supply chain domain. This brief knowledge may help you. Also, if you are at mid and senior level, I have seen now with the development in supply chain concepts, you also need to understand what is happening in the market, what exactly, because many times candidates say, I am not able to answer the interview questions because nowadays the expectation from the employers are much wide and also in depth. Okay, so we can explore what does this end-to-end supply chain management means, what are the subdomains available in supply chain, and where are the job prospects available. Either you are already employed or you are looking for a job, and if possible, which subdomain you should look for a job. That's what we are going to see. So let me try to share my screen so that I can present it. Hope you are able to see the screen. Let me. So now the screen has come. So today we are going to see some basic concept about supply chain management and what it is trying to cover, from when we say end-to-end management, what it is. In fact, nowadays we keep talking about circular supply. So what does it really mean? Circular supply chain means. So let us see those concepts. I am setting the screen right now. Hope it is coming fine in the screen. Okay, before starting the program, let me introduce myself. My name is Pattabhi Raman. This is my LinkedIn profile. Hope many of you are connected with me in LinkedIn, also following my channels in Facebook as well as YouTube. You are welcome to the program. As far as my profile is concerned, nowadays basic education is slowly disappearing because employers have started valuing some form of global certifications. We will see what are those certification in the next slide. I have nearly 2.5 decades working in this type of large supply chain and manufacturing organization, which are basically a multinational company, and I have been working in each of this subdomain at one point of a time. And in the last assignment, I was heading the supply chain as a general manager for my European MNC. Currently, I am a CEO of this organization known as Thoughtware Training Private Limited. As far as my certification is concerned, if you want to recognize yourself as a supply chain professional, you need this type of globally recognized certification. One authority is known as APIX based in US. They provide these three different certification. Also, there is a demand driven institute who also provides similar certification. If you are either in purchasing or project management, you can also acquire these type of certification. But for the core supply chain domain, the first certification is preferred, and I am also qualified in analytics. Regarding our organization, is it's nearly 5 years old organization based in Bangalore. We provide training and consulting in the period domains of supply chain, purchasing, logistic, and also supply chain analytics. Currently we represent demand driven institute as an affiliate based in India. Our trade name is Expert SCM. We provide short-term job-oriented program which may help you in improving your performance in your current job, or possibly if you are looking for a new job, the expected skills from the employers will be available through this program. So we do program in basic supply chain management, logistic, and one of our popular program is supply chain analytics. You are trying to combine analytics with the supply chain. Also the latest we have launched on certified sourcing analyst. Regarding the last two program which is currently live, we will see the details towards the end of the program. Meanwhile, if you need any clarification, you can always comment so that we can reach you. We also provide training for global certification programs. Okay, coming to the basic understanding of supply chain, I am not sure any live participant can participate. If you know, you can respond through the comments. I am talking about a simple mobile phone, smartphone you are using currently. Do you know how many components are available? When we talk about component, we are looking at part, child part level. Even a small component can constitute one SKU. SKU means in supply chain we refer to that as a stock keeping unit. Anyone, can you type it? Do you know how many components are there in the mobile phone? If you are aware, you can type. Maybe possibly I can also display the photo of a simple mobile phone component. Of course it is not completely dismantled. You can see still there are a lot of subassembly. Can anyone imagine how many components may be there in a mobile phone? I am talking about child component. Even this board you may have to split into smaller child parts. Okay. Here we are trying to understand how many components may be required to build a mobile phone and how many suppliers are involved. So we are trying to get to map the process of supply chain management. Any answers? Anyone can say how many components may be there in the mobile phone? Any mobile phone. You need not be precise. Okay. You can type the answer. Next to one more example, we are seeing as a washing machine. Almost all of you may be using. There are so many components involved in constructing this washing machine, like a mobile phone. Possibly they are getting from the tier one supplier a sub-assembled component. Maybe what you are seeing in the picture is a sub-assembled, because tier one supplier they may source some component from their vendors. Like that it goes on backwards till the component comes from earth. Everything in the supply chain originates from the earth and finally goes back to earth. So if you take the examples of both mobile phone and washing machine, there are hundreds of child components involved. Okay, let us see one more example of a passenger car. You can see in the screen how many components are available. Can anyone make a guess? Okay, here also you can see there are a lot of sub-assemblies. For example, if you take the seat, it once again has the fabric, springs, nuts, bolts, levers, slides, all that are there. Even if you take the wheel, it is once again sub-assembled. If you Google up and see how many components are involved in manufacture of a car, you may be surprised to note the number of child component could be anywhere between 25,000 to 30,000. So now the question is, how many suppliers are there to get provide this components. Maybe there are level one, which we call in automobile tier one, tier two, tier three suppliers. So possibly, if you take a case of Suzuki, they may have thousand suppliers, many spread across the country, and few there is a import required. So on the inbound side, you may have to handle as a supply chain executive hundreds of vendors spread across the country and the world. So should be a knowledge on locating the supplier, negotiating, fixing the contract, and then there are logistic involved in the domestic case. Maybe the component has to come from thousands of kilometers, so we should know what procedure is involved in logistic. In case of a local transportation, if you are looking on imports, then you should be aware about imports exports policy, customs duty, and something related with SCZ or EPZ type of activities. So this is on the inbound side. There are a lot of components. Maybe to understand what we have seen on the left side is the suppliers. So you may see tier 1, tier 2, tier 3 suppliers on one side, but it can extend to several layers before the manufacturing organization. Possibly it may go to the earth, where we are trying to extract the items from the earth and then converting into some basic raw material. It can be sheets or rods or components, and then before it comes to the factory, you can see this movement happens either by road or by rail or air. Ship, of course, ship is not shown or not visible here. And when it comes inside the plant, there are a lot of coordination work in converting the raw material into finished products. Okay, so this is where some type of a demand forecasting, inventory management, production scheduling, all this happens inside the plant. Okay, once the item is ready as a finished product, it has to reach to the customer, but it doesn't directly go to the customer. Possibly there are intermediate distribution centers or warehouses before it reaches either store or retail store, and finally it reaches to the customer. So you can see for any of the product, the supply chain is huge. In fact, here you are seeing only 60 to 70% of the entire supply chain. Maybe in the coming slides you may understand what exactly I am talking. Okay, supply chain is much more than this, but unfortunately, when you order something on the e-commerce or when you go to a retail store, you are only seeing the finished product. That is only one small of portion of a supply chain. Supply chain is huge. There are you can see how many vendors are involved, how many modes of transportation, how many executives are involved in planning. So it's a big work happening, but unfortunately, e-commerce makes it simple that the product is ready and you are ordering and taking it. But if you take job wise, there are 90% of the job behind e-commerce, behind the retail showroom. That's where the real core supply chain happens. And coming to the supply chain network, it is not one supplier we are dealing or nor one customer. You may see even in the manufacturing plant, they may have location multiple places, vendors, hundreds of vendors spread across the country or even across the globe on one side. On the other side, you may have customers spread across the country or the globe. So it's a network. When we talk about supply chain, we are talking about network of vendors, your manufacturing plant, also the distribution channel. So huge network is working to get any product, let it be a pharmaceutical product or a beverage or chemical detergent or your home appliance or car for that matter. A big network is working behind scenes to get it. And also now reverse logistic has become very much important in supply chain, because once you purchase the product, maybe there are some warranty guarantee related aspects or product recall is involved. The also sometimes, in the European and US countries, the product which are made from electrical and electronic item has to be taken back by the manufacturer, and they have to dispose of in suitably. So the supply chain doesn't stop after providing product to the customer, but it works behind the supply in the form of reverse logistic. And currently we talk about circular supply chain, which means even after getting the item from the users or customers, consumers, you may see how to recycle or reuse the parts, so that at least 50% of the item comes back into the market. Knowingly or unknowingly, you may be purchasing a new product, but it has a lot of used component or recycled component. Possibly there are no regulation available for the manufacturer to indicate that they are using some recycled component. Possibly in the textbooks or books or manuals, you may see that they are indicating that they are doing getting some of the items by recycled product. But it can happen in any of the product. It can be in your mobile, some of the components are reclaimed from the previous model, or how this items is getting disposed. Here this is what we call as a circular supply chain. Okay, it once you are extracting the metal, goes into the production, goes to the customer. After the end of the life period, you are going to reclaim the parts. It may be called recycling, reuse, remanufacturing, refurbishing, or similar such parts are involved in reverse logistics. And here you have now the question comes, what is supply chain? Now the supply chain, we have seen some of the idea in the previous slide. And for your information, everything originates from earth and goes back to the earth in some form. Okay, maybe you are reusing, refurbishing all that at one stage, but finally the item should go back to earth once the life period is over. So when we talk about supply chain, we deal with all the process from raw material extraction, then converting into components or intermediate process, then going to the finishing stages, then customer receives it, and finally at the end of the life period of product, the product comes back to the original manufacturer for reprocessing. So this entire thing nowadays, it's not even a supply chain. Now it's called circular supply chain. Entire circle is being formed in the supply chain. So this is where knowing the supply chain is important for you guys. And if you take global certification bodies, they suggest what should be content of supply chain study. You can see major four aspects are there in any supply chain study, starting with planning. Planning is one of the core activity for supply chain management. You can see it starts with the strategic planning, then you have SNOP, master production schedule, and material requirement planning. So if you know planning, then you are 50 to 60% a supply chain executive. Then comes the demand side. Nowadays demand management is also a part of supply chain executive. You should know how to manage the orders and do the demand forecasting, and also distribution requirement planning once the product is ready. On the other side, you have the demand management. At different level, you should know how to manage the demand with the supplies. Okay, so that's where demand management comes. On the bottom you can see either purchasing or in your internal production manufacturing, you are two major activities. So you can see there are four major activity. One is planning, and second is demand management. Third one is capacity management. Fourth one is the either production or purchasing management, because finally you are responsible for making the item ready. Of course, here in the background there are inventory management and warehouse management, which is applicable for the supply chain. So if you want to become a supply chain professional, you need to know each one of this process, because you may get any questions in supply chain related to any of these processes. But normally in colleges, if you are studying MBA or any institute, they don't try to dwell on all these activities. You need to have overall knowledge. Even if you are doing in a demand forecasting, you cannot say I don't know about inventory management. Here everything is interlinked. That's why we call it as a supply chain. Every activity is linked. Maybe you can become an expert in one sub domain, but knowledge wise you need to have entire end to end. In fact, circular supply chain management, that's where it's important. Coming to the challenges in supply chain, we have many challenges now. The supply chain is also evolving day by day, it is evolving. Customer expectation is changing. 5 years back, a customer was willing to wait for 2 weeks, 3 weeks delivery for any product. Now even 4 days, 5 days is going to disappear. Amazon, for a non-prime customer, they are delivering for 4 days, 5 days, but that may not work out. Now people have tasted half an hour delivery, 1 hour delivery. You may see in many cities. If you take an example of Swiggy grocery, they are promising 15 to 30 minutes delivery, and food delivery is happening. But for the customer, it doesn't matter whether it's a grocery or it's a mobile phone or a refrigerator or a free, mobile car. I am ready to pay. Give me in half an hour time. So the challenges are changing now. Priorities are changing. The way in which we have operated, inventory management, warehousing, everything is going to change. Now, people expect lower cost with the advent of e-commerce. They are looking for frequent, small size delivery, all that. So earlier we were talking about consolidation and sending all the item in bulk, and we were afraid to use courier. Now the norm is courier, small item, frequent delivery, and almost no delivery cost. And the trend is set by the e-commerce people. Okay. And market is also very dynamic. We don't know how where demand is varying. Pandemic is attacking, trade war is going on. Supply, we have lot of disruptions, labor problem, or customs related issue. We Many organization, even I organization, large organization, they don't have a proper forecasting. They incur huge error. And many organization, they have a problem in inventory management. Possibly, if you know, many organization may have huge inventory. At the same time, they may have some shortages, so that they are not in a position to produce their product. Transit time, especially when you are depending upon imported components, it has to come by sea freight, so it may take 3 weeks, 6 weeks, 8 weeks. But is it fixed time? No, never. You cannot expect the item in the desired time. And there are natural calamities. Okay, but finally, customer doesn't want to know all these things. Whether there is a problem in your production plan, or transportation is a problem, or government rules are problem, he is not bothered. He wants the item in 30 minutes time. Can you do it? So that is the problem in supply chain. You can know that there are huge opportunity in supply chain, provided you have the right skill. Learn it from the proper organization or institute. Especially don't fall prey from the branded item. Like there are many PhDs are doing it. Everything is theoretical. What characters you have to look from trainers or training organization is you have to see their background, whether they are industrially experienced. They only know practically what is happening in the organization, what are the pain points. And that too, you have to see someone who is having more than 20 or 30 years experience in industry. Don't go for academic experience. And also see some type of a global certification, especially when you talk about supply chain. We employees recognize APIX certification, but that is one of the tough nut to crack. So possibly those who say supply chain trainers, they don't take up this examination. Nowadays, not only trainer, as a supply chain professional, you should also get certified by this global certification. Otherwise, finding a good job will be a problem. Okay, so this is the second character of your training organization or the trainer. And the third one is, nowadays analytics is playing a big role in transforming the sector. So you should know whether the trainer has the combined knowledge of this. Okay, so this should be not isolated or separate requirement. It should be from a single individual possessing all these three skill, or a organization possessing all these three skills combined together. Then only you will be able to get better training which are job oriented, possibly your prospects for getting a job also possible. And if you take me as a trainer, I fit into all this category. So if you want to do a check for on the other institute or even colleges, please do this check before you enroll. Okay, so we provide some type of a basic programs which employers are looking for. One of our popular program is called supply chain analytics. 11th batch is getting over. Okay, we have eight modules program. One will be on basic supply chain aspects on a practical application. Okay, not studying the theory here. We want to analyze case studies, what happens in the real industries. Then nowadays analytics also requires some information on statistics and mathematics. And we use some type of advanced tool for training the candidate. You may wonder what analytics may do in supply chain, but this is a skill. If you like, Excel is one of the basic skill. Now supply chain executives are also supposed to know analytics. If you know analytics, then the prospects of getting job will lowest. So that's where we train people on SQL and Python in analytics program. And mainly we are orienting all this towards the supply chain, because in the market there are a lot of programs available on SQL and Python. Possibly you can also learn it free of cost by in YouTube. There are people available, but maybe problem is they are not into supply chain field. They don't know about inventory optimization or logistic problem. That's where we come into picture. Okay, so we provide lot of live examples and try to solve them using Python or SQL. Sometime even advanced Excel we use it. And also, if you are freshers or entry level, we can support you in terms of mock interviews, preparing your resume, and wherever we get any references, we can link you up with the employers also. Now in this batch, in next batch, we are going to even provide Power BI as optional items, where you can get it as a part of this program. When you study this, you are not only for the entry level. Many of my participants are even 10 years experience people are doing this program, because nowadays it is becoming their survival tool. For others, if you are looking for a job in good company, this type of program is mandatory nowadays. And we also have launched a program for people who are interested in purchasing. Purchasing can also be called procurement or sourcing, but there is a difference. People may use it interchangeably. There also analytics can be applied, because in the purchasing you may see tons of people are available, so the salary rate is lower. But if you want to come out of the group and say, I can do better than others, you are welcome. And the sourcing or purchasing is not only based on cost. Now cost is taking a backseat. Now time and quality is what matters in purchasing. Okay, so we are going to study on effective sourcing at three different levels. Second one is a sourcing concept, and level 3 will be also training on advanced Excel and Python. And we are going to use a real case situation for trying out using Python. Okay, so if you are in the purchasing domain or trying to enter the purchasing or procurements or sourcing subdomain in supply chain, you can opt for this certified sourcing analyst program. And all these programs are weekend when you available both on Saturdays and Sundays, and all are live and interactive program. These are not recorded programs, all are live and interactive program. You all from a domain expert, you have seen the three characteristic of a training organization, all that will be available in our programs. And if you are at a entry level, at a student, maybe if you cannot afford money, you can also try for scholarship or internship. But of course, after entering to any of our program, you can do it. You can also visit our site to check our recent participants Google review. More than 100 people have answered, given the feedback. So now we are coming to the end of the program. Any queries from any of the participants, either you can type in the comments, or always you can use our WhatsApp number given in the screen, and our executives will be happy to respond. If you need any detailed brochure or you want to talk to me, you can always send a message, and you can fix up a time if you need to talk. But don't be now complacent in the changing market. The skills are changing, so the expectation from the management is changing. Even if you are at mid level or senior level, you need to upskill. There is no other choice. So please reach out to me. So if you are looking for any of the aspects, any queries, you can always welcome either to type in LinkedIn comments, or the WhatsApp number we have given. You are always welcome to reach to us. Any live participants, any questions, you can always type in the comments, LinkedIn comments, if you are watching from LinkedIn. Otherwise, we will conclude the program. Thanks for participating, and those who are going likely to see in the future this recorded session, you are welcome to contact us. The numbers are given earlier, and have a nice weekend. Bye. Thank you.